What is up, everyone? Welcome to Hyperion Co. For you guys tonight, I am Lord Thief, and joined in the booth by none other than Hyperion Co. Oakley. And today, just running through a quick checkpoint for you guys. This is week three, I think, of checkpoint for the
Yep.
Argonaut Invitational.
Yep. Week three, last week of the regular season, and next week will be in our playoff bracket. So a lot to look forward to, and some good momentum to be built and gained into going into playoffs here. So let's go ahead and check out our matchups from the previous week. We had Paradise Aegis and Ragnarok Thor going to 6 maps in a crazy back and forth series, but in the end, Paradise Aegis took the victory 3-2 over Ragnarok Thor.
Yeah, this one was a pretty nutty series, actually, and I ended up being able to talk a little bit to Lightning of Ragnarok Thor and Blur of Paradise Aegis, and I mean outside of having a great interview with Blur, I think it was it just got some really good insights into the team. And it really does go back to the theme of that match was the discipline and principle that Ragnarok Thor is capable of playing with, versus the pop-off potential that you have concentrated so heavily in Paradise Aegis, who are returning champs and have been long-time mainstays and fan favorites of the Hyperion organization. So this was a banger of a series. I highly encourage you guys to go check out the VOD on Twitch. It was a 6 map series, like you mentioned, Oakley. Jackson and I were in the booth having an absolute blast with it. And really, there's not much to highlight outside of just it was good Overwatch all the way around. You really
Yeah.
can't praise any one team or any one player.
Yeah, it was back and forth. In the beginning on Samoa, kind of looked like a 2-0, but then we got to Kings and Ragnarok Thor. They showed up, stole
Hmm.
Dorado, stole Esperanza, and then we were like, oh my. And then Paradise just
Paradise locked in.
they do the Paradise Lost thing, and they just I don't know, they pull out a win. I don't know. Sussum's feeding them roids or something. I don't know.
That is actually the way to say it, is they pull a Paradise Lost. That's it actually doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Um, the other matchup of the week was not quite so whimsical, perhaps, is the way to put it.
Yeah, with this one we had CSU Vikes versus Blink Strike. Blink Strike in our predictions in the Hyperion Discord, they were heavy favorites, and CSU Vikes, they came out swinging. They had their full roster, everyone on the right roles, and Winter showed up and made a huge difference on the tank. Um, Tank role leading CSU to victory. He had a ton of pop off moments, especially on Samoa. I just remember I really couldn't swap off observing because every time I would, he'd get like a 3K, and I was like, I don't want this to be the winter show, but I kind of gotta highlight some other people. But that's not entirely the story. Blink Strike, they do have some good players. It just felt like they were always like one step behind. I would always feel like their plays were always like they weren't always on the same page, but someone would make a play. Like I remember Fluffy Shark would make really good plays on Sojourn, or Mega Man would make good plays on Tank, but it always seemed like they were always one step behind CSU and couldn't really get over that hump, unfortunately. But it the whole field of this tournament, I feel like everyone does have a fair shot every single week to play against each other and take maps or even win series. So
Mhm.
even here, Blank Strike were heavy favorites and they ended up getting 3-0. So, maybe this week they 3-0 Paradise. Just who knows?
Yeah, and honestly, of all the teams that could probably afford to be knocked down a peg or two, at least from the perspective, from the POV of the other teams, is going to be that Paradise Aegis squad. Um, I'm excited to see both Blink Strike and CSU Vikes White later. I think we're actually watching the Blink Strike game later tonight.
Yeah.
And
No, that one's tomorrow, actually.
oh, that one's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Ragnarok
CSU
Thor tonight. I
is
actually.
Ragnarok is tonight.
So
That one's past my
tonight.
bedtime.
we'll actually get to talk about that. Because if we're looking at this week's matchups, that is going to be the one.
Yep,
Big emphasis tonight: CSU Vikes White versus Paradise Aegis at 10 p.m.
that's tomorrow.
Little bit of a oh, I'm sorry, that's tomorrow. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Ragnarok Thor versus Blink Strike. That's tonight. I could have just looked at my screen. That's tonight at 10 p.m. Little bit of a late match, but that one's actually going to be really fun. Again, some of the feedback that I've gotten from Ragnarok Thor is that they're actually kind of the they're punching up a little bit, and so to see them in a matchup, it's so good against Paradise Aegis. It's going to be really interesting to see if they carry some of that expertise, some of that potential into their matchup with Blink Strike. And for Blink Strike, it's a matter of do they bounce back in a really powerful way? And so that's something we'll get to see tonight. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yep, I'm excited for it too. It's going to be a late one, but should be a good one. And then tomorrow we got CSU Vikes White versus Paradise Aegis. I'm on the CSU bandwagon. I think Winter is a great tank player. Really brought their team together. I don't know. I'm just coping, I guess. But who knows? We'll see what happens. And not the replay code, the tournament code is fixed, so there will not be any funny shenanigans with tank health pools or any of the funny hiccups we had last week. But you know, if we want to go ahead and look at the current playoff picture for now, we got Paradise Aegis versus Blink Strike in that first matchup for next week, and Ragnarok Thor versus CSU Vikes White in that second matchup. I think that is the week one redemption arc, if we want to put it that way, because I believe both of those were the matchups in week one. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, they
should be
were.
pretty
So
fun.
it's an opportunity for CSU Vikes White to bounce back, and then for Blink Strike to make a really prominent name for themselves by just knocking out Paradise right from the get-go. If I understand it correctly, Oakley, some of this can change, or like a little bit of it might change based on some of the
Yeah.
outcomes of tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But this does give us a really good picture about what the competition in this tournament looks like at the moment. Like you mentioned earlier, I think, and I agree with you strongly. Every team has a fair shot at
Mm-hmm.
winning any of these games. But then you look at that matchup between Paradise Aegis and Ragnarok Thor, and then you're gonna watch CSU Vikes White tomorrow and Blink Strike tonight, and we're all gonna end up thinking of ourselves, holy smokes. Winter deserves to win this, win it all. Or wow, Blink Strike bounced back. If there's a team that improved enough to win at the championships, it's them. And I think that there's going to be the potential for all kinds of narratives with even just four teams, which I think is really saying something.
Yeah. And I mean, even if we are to go back to that first week, Blink Strike almost took Esperanza off of
Mhm.
Paradise Aegis and could have forced them at five. They were one fight away and they just fell apart mid fight on the last
Yeah.
fight because that push was like, it was like 96 to 99 meters. It was really, really, really close. So, anything could happen even in the playoff bracket as it stands right now.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, in order to get there, we'll have to get through the matches that we have today and tomorrow. Going to be some really exciting games. Please, please, please make sure to tune in tonight. It's going to be 10 p.m. EDT. Don't worry, we aren't going to go too late past you guys' bedtime, but you perhaps can lull yourself to sleep to the sonorous sounds of my casting this evening in that matchup, or just to the expert gameplay from any of our competitors. And of course, tomorrow as well. And I think that one's at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Oakley, 8 p.m. EDT, and that's going to be a really exciting matchup. The CSU Vikes versus Paradise Aegis. Did I get it right the first time there?
CSU versus Paradise, correct.
Sweet. Yeah. So that one's going to be a really exciting series because we'll get to see Winter in the lineup, see how that helps CSU stack up against Paradise because that's the team to beat right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, Oakley, I think that that's it for our
I think
checkpoint
that
as
is it.
well. We've covered all the big points. There's only storylines really to capture going forward. So not much for you guys today. And honestly, that's the way we like it. Have just enough reserved for the commentary and then plenty for the Overwatch. Tune in tonight, twitch.tv/HyperionCo. If you haven't followed already, definitely follow and make sure that you tune in tonight, 10 p.m. EDT for what will be a really invigorating match, albeit a little bit late. And of course, tomorrow tomorrow as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here for you guys, I've been Lord Ethan. I almost said I've been Oakley. I've been Lord Ethan, joined in the booth by Oakley, and we'll see you guys next week or later tonight.